Hi, I'm Sandra Hutchins. I'm the Sheriff Coroner of Orange County, and you're watching Facets Television.
I'm Kevin McDonald, and you're watching Facets Television. Today we are here at the Mesa Consolidated Water District in Costa Mesa, and today I will be interviewing Sean Dwayne, who's the president of the Consolidated Water District. Sean, can you tell me a little bit about why today is so significant to the Water District?
Well, it's really important point of history for the city of Costa Mesa. Mesa Consolidated Water District was consolidated from 4 water districts about 50 years ago. In fact, 50 years ago today, I believe. Jerry Brown, the former governor, signed the act that created what is today Mesa Consolidated Water District. And what we do is we provide the potable water supply to 110,000 citizens in the city of Costa Mesa, John Wayne Airport, and part of Newport Beach. So we're here to celebrate that event.
So what is unique about the water district? I mean, we hear a lot about water in California, and we hear a lot about drought problems. And so can you tell me a little bit about what's unique about this particular area?
Well, Mesa is really unique in the county because we have what we consider to be a drought-proof water supply. Our long-term facilities plan at Mesa is to create a drought-proof supply, and one of the ways we're doing that is we have access to a deep water aquifer that has a 1,000-year supply of water, and because it comes up colored and smells like tea, we do some treatment on it and we bring it into the system completely clean and colorless. But there's no other agency in Orange County that's able to access that aquifer. So we have what's really a drought-proof supply of water to provide for the citizens of Costa Mesa and the economic development of the city going forward.
So what you're saying is by being independent, then there's no taxation on the local populace?
Thanks for asking that. That's a very important part of what Mesa is. We're an independent special district, and that means we're not part of the city. So when the citizens of Costa Mesa buy the water from Mesa Consolidated, they are simply paying for the service that we provide. And that benefits everybody in the city because Costa Mesa or Mesa Consolidated Water District receives no ad valorem property tax or any other type of government subsidy. So the cost of operating the district is perfectly reflected in the cost of the water delivered to the consumer. The consumer doesn't pay any additional tiered rates or any additional costs, fees, or expenses. It's just simply we produce the water, they purchase it, and they use it.
So now when you say it's drought-proof, I mean, California's going through some pretty extreme challenges in the Central Valley, San Diego, et cetera, due to our loss of the water flow coming from Colorado and other locations. Are you saying basically that Costa Mesa will never be affected and its 110,000 residents are basically immune to that?
Well, the long-term facilities plan for the district provides that our system is sufficiently sized so that we have enough water supply to provide 100% of the needs of the city and the citizens right now without importing water from any other source. And I'm saying this contingent upon we're actually expanding the facility that we're working on, the colored water treatment facility. We're expanding that. So once the expansion's done, we will be able to supply 100% of the needs of the city, John Wayne Airport, and part of Newport Beach, specifically from groundwater without any need for imported water at all. So yeah, even in times of drought, because that aquifer is so deep and it's so large, and we are the only agency with Irvine Ranch that has access to it, there's no way that we could deplete it with the number of citizens here. The city would have to grow very, very, very much in size for us to get into a situation where we would need to import additional water.
So are you an actual independent agency of the government? Are you a not-for-profit? What is the structure of the organization?
The structure of the organization is called an independent special district, and independent special districts are unique. There's about 1,900 of them in California, and what they're used for is they can be used for libraries, cemeteries, hospitals, water districts, and many other public services. And so essentially what happens is the group of citizens in an area collectively get together, identify a need, in this case it's water service, and then they form an independent special district, which is a municipal or a county water agency in our case. case, and that county agency is governed by an elected board of officers. I'm one of the elected officers. Our district is divided into 5 divisions with about 22,000 constituents in each division, and then we're elected to 4-year terms. So this is a public resource guided through public policy in a traditional governmental process. And I believe it's the best form of government because it keeps us close to the citizens, it keeps us accountable, and it keeps the problems associated with managing a government agency manageable. Keeps it small in case there's a problem. It's mitigated to the number of people that are managing the district.
So let me ask you, is there any risk that while there's a limitation currently on who can access the water, I mean, we know that when things get tight that other people are going to want to try to get attached to that water source. Is there any risk of that here at the Mesa Water District?
Well, it's pretty complicated because the groundwater aquifer has water rights associated with it, and so since Mesa is such an old agency, we are one of the we have access to the groundwater aquifer. In order for somebody else to get access to that aquifer, they have to go through the Orange County Water District and be able to add additional wells to be able to pump that water from the ground. So there would be it's a pretty giant bureaucratic process to get through to get additional supply delivered from that groundwater aquifer. So I wouldn't say it's impossible, but I'd say it's very unlikely, and it would be a very long and costly process for somebody to do that.
Well, congratulations on 50 years of serving the local area, and I really appreciate your taking the time to talk with me today. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm Kevin McDonald, and you're watching Facets Television. We're back, and I'm here with Paul Schoenberger, the general manager of the Mesa Consolidated Water District. Paul, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us today. Can you tell me a little bit about Celebration?
Absolutely. Mesa and the city, this whole area grew up around its water district, and we have been incorporated as Mesa Consolidated for 50 years, and this is a celebration of our service to the community.
So I understand that there are some upgrades occurring. Can you tell me a little bit about what that is and what the local area can expect from it?
Yeah, absolutely. The benefits from our groundwater treatment plant expansion is going to be that we will have 100% of our supply, our water supply, will be local and drought proof, which is really fantastic, especially in Southern California here. We'll be able to, regardless of whether it's raining in the Sierras or on the Colorado River, we will have our groundwater, our recycled water, the deep groundwater, which is the colored water, and our conservation will be able to supply the community with a reliable source of water.
So that's quite the compliment for the city of Costa Mesa. I'm sure this is going to be on billboards and banners for everybody that's considering moving here.
Well, absolutely. I mean, there is our job as a water district is really to provide the folks that are in our area the quality of life when it comes to water, clean water and reliable water. We take that very seriously, and we've gone to a lot of lengths to make sure that we do have this reliable supply of water.
So as a general manager of a water district, what are your biggest challenges today?
Biggest challenges are moving forward in this economy is keeping our staffing at the right size. Over the last few years, we have, through attrition and retirements, we've actually reduced our staff by about 15%, and keeping us financially sound. We are a sound AA rated district right now, and we're improving that. And so I think in this environment, what we really need to do is to keep providing our clean and reliable water in a fiscally responsible way.
So what would you like to say to the folks that drink water out of the Mesa Water District?
Drink it straight out of the tap. It's clean and it's healthy. And how much do you think 1 gallon of water out of your tap actually costs?
That's a very good question. I'll let you tell me.
For 3 gallons, you will be charged 1 penny. So it's basically 1/3 of a cent per gallon. So it's a great bargain. It comes right into your house under pressure, and it's clean and reliable.
And that sure beats $1.50 for some of the bottled water that you purchase, right?
Absolutely, we think so.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Paul. I appreciate it, and congratulations on celebrating 50 years.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm Kevin McDonald, and you're watching Facets Television. So I'm with Kurt Dominic, the fire chief for Costa Mesa, and I have a question for you, Chief. I've been told that the water here is an unlimited supply, and I know that in fire conditions that can be a very significant positive. Can you give me a little idea of how the water district supports the department?
Anytime we have a structure fire and we have a working structure fire, we can just hook up to one of the hydrants within the city, and we're pretty much guaranteed to have an endless water supply at a good working pressure. And see, that's the important concept, to have just not the water, but the pressure that you need to have coming to being supplying our fire engines. And we've been on big fires here, and we've never had an issue. And when we do have second alarm or greater fires, if we put a request out to have a rep come from the water district, they come out there real quick, and they work hand in hand with us to solve any issues that we might have with the water pressure or water conditions. So they've been a good working relationship for the 23 years that I've been here with the Costa Mesa Fire Department, and I've never had an issue on a fire.
So what you're saying is the citizens can rely on, if they have a fire in Costa Mesa area, that the water will be there when it's time to put out the fire.
Oh, definitely, 100%. Yeah, it's we got a great system here. I mean, look at the storage tank right here, and they got a couple on the east side. It's a good system. I'm glad that we're partners within with the water district and the fire department in doing suppression activities for our city.
Thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us.
You're welcome.
Have a good one.
I would like to welcome everyone here, especially Carl Kemp, our former general manager, Lee Pearl, our former general manager, Hank Pannion, a former director, Dana Haynes, former director. Wave out, you guys. Tom Nelson, former director. Phil Anthony, director from Orange County Water District. Kevin Hunt in the back there, MODOC general manager. Mike Marcus from the Orange County Water District, Dana Rohrbacher, Jan DeBay, all you folks, very much appreciate you all being here today. It's with great privilege that I'm here speaking on behalf of the board and taking a part in the history of the city and memorializing this event for the future development of our community. Thanks again. Before I go on, I happen to glance over to my right here and notice Mr. Henry Segerstrom's in our audience as well. And thank you very much, Mr. Segerstrom, for allowing Mesa to be part of what was originally, I believe, your vision to develop the city of Costa Mesa, and what a wonderful thing it has become. Thank you very much. It's a privilege to be here. It's a privilege to be part of this event, and privilege to be part of the history of Costa Mesa. Mike Healy, I guess, is out here someplace as well. I did not see him. There you are, Mike. Thanks very much for coming as well. Mesa is a unique water agency. We're an independent special district, meaning that we derive no property tax. We have no subsidy from any governmental agency. So the folks in the city who buy the water pay for the water specifically. When we measure ourselves against the surrounding agencies, we find that we're very competitive in terms of our water rate. Our mission going forward is to make Mesa completely independent from expensive and unreliable imported water. How we're doing that is through the expansion and the modernization of our treatment facility over at Harbor and Geisler near Mr. Segerstrom's farm. And what we're going to do is expand the capacity of that plant 50%, so that in the future, Mesa will be 100% drought proof. We'll be able to provide 100% of the needs of the water for the city of Costa Mesa, John Wayne Airport, and Newport Beach, specifically from groundwater, without relying on expensive and unreliable imported water. I think it's very important that we recognize as the citizens of Costa Mesa that clean, potable, inexpensive water is fundamental to the economic liberties of our citizens, and it's key to the development of our community. Working together with the city and the sanitation district and the other municipal agencies around here, we have done this for 50 years, and I would like to say and acknowledge the staff who has the constant vigilance to maintain the system. Water, as many of you know, is a very corrosive substance, and this system that resides in the ground buried deep underneath the streets is often forgotten about and taken for granted. But every day when we get up, we rely on it to drink, to bathe, to wash our cars, to hose down our driveways, to do everything. It is fundamental that we continue to provide this and to maintain the quality of life that we've become accustomed to. Our priorities are to maintain our status as an independent special district free from any other merger or governance action. We believe that an independent special district provides for the best form of governance because it keeps us close to the people. I live in the division, I drink the water, I answer to my neighbors. When somebody has a problem with the water district, they can arrive in the boardroom and lodge their complaint with the board of directors, and I'll guarantee you that they'll be heard, and I guarantee you that their complaint will be taken up in a deliberative process by the board of directors, and we will try to reach the best conclusion possible. In this day and age, with the I see Congressman Dana Rohrabacher walking in here. Thank you very much, Congressman, for attending this afternoon. The Congressman and I had an interesting conversation about the fundamental ability of water to provide for our citizens. And so, Congressman, we thank you very much for your support of the district, and we thank you for being on the same page with us about that priority. So in today's day and age, we often hear about the cities of Bell and other people taking advantage of the public's trust. Well, I can assure you that Mesa the board of directors stands wholeheartedly against any type of taking advantage of the trust that's been provided to us. We've taken many steps to maintain the fiscal responsibility of the district. We posted all our pay and benefits and salaries online. We are moving towards a AAA credit status that will save the ratepayers millions of dollars in interest costs associated with financing the eventual replacement and expansion of the district as the community grows. So it's very important that we keep focused on those priorities. So at this time, I just, before I take too long here, hand this off again to Director Bachmiller to talk about the Mesa's legacy and the history of the district. Director Bachmiller.
Thank you very much, President Dwayne. Acknowledge my fellow directors, Director Oleg Hall, Director Atkinson, and Director Fissler, as fellow board members here as well. While we celebrate Mesa's 50 years of service today, it's interesting to note that the water area service goes back to more than 100 years. 1910, the town of Harper had the La Habra Valley Land and Water Company. And in 1920, Harper was named Costa Mesa. Water demand grew as the town changed from farms to commerce. And before the city of Costa Mesa incorporated in 1953, it was often said that the area's only local form of government were the water districts. There was no city, and where did people come to lodge their complaints? With water districts. And there were many. Fairview County Water District, Newport Heights Irrigation District, Newport Mesa County Water District, and eventually the City of Costa Mesa Water Department. And you think we have a lot of districts today. Imagine we had 4 districts in just this 18 square mile area. Eventually, people decided that maybe bringing the districts together would be a good idea. And so with great difficulty and much tribulation, because there was no LAFCO at that time, everything had to go through the state legislature and a lot of time and trouble. And so the Costa Mesa District Merger Law was signed by Governor Pat Brown, and it allowed all the districts in the area to merge into one, and it was the first consolidation of water agencies in the state where they assumed the debt and obligations of the previous agencies, and all that debt has now long been paid off. And the new district was built on the foundation of partnerships. There were people, as you'll read in the history book, there were people that all the districts got together. There were 4 districts. There were 20 elected officials. At the end, there were only 5. 15 people left the role of an elected director, but they realized that it was for the good of all, and that this district became a right-sized agency at that time. It was built on fiscal conservative and dedicated to satisfying our community's water needs, which is what we do today. As the district boomed in the 60s, connections doubled, and in the 70s, the price of imported water began to its inexorable rise. So we began to look for local groundwater, local water supply, and improved reliability. And during the 70s, 80s, and 90s, longtime Mesa water leaders, including some people present here, Carl Kemp and Director Hank Panion, and at the end of that period, Director Oleg Hall guided the district and forged our path of local water reliance. We began to bring this, many of you may not even know this is a reservoir behind us, 10 million gallons. It was built in 1990. And in 2001, we took a large step forward in our local water supply. No, this is not apple juice. No, this is not something else. This is colored water straight from the well, Mesa Consolidated Water District. We're fortunate to sit above a portion, groundwater basin that has this amber water. It's redwood tea. And at early days of Costa Mesa, there was a little hot springs, and people drank it in amber-colored glasses, and it was good for whatever ailed you. And I now have at the board meeting, every board meeting, a pitcher of this water because it is safe, perfectly palatable, and completely safe to consume. The only problem with it is it has this little bit of color. It's delicious, soft, low in TDS. It actually tastes better than Colorado River water by a long shot. And Mesa is a leader in the technology to remove the amber tint. And there's a very slight sulfur smell, but I never even smell it. It just goes away so quickly. Today, the Color Water facility meets 1/4 of our daily demands. So that's a nice thing. And coupled with the local Clearwater wells and our ongoing partnership with the Orange County Water District, and under ideal conditions, we can meet 92% of our demand from local supplies. So that in a drought emergency, we still have 92% capacity. I think an 8% reduction to meet there. Our capacity would be very easily achieved by our highly responsive ratepayers. Anytime we call, they answer, and it's been a great relationship. And despite the 50 years, we have passing, we've delivered on our commitments. And I'd just like to thank everybody for coming here. It's been an awesome opportunity to serve on this board and with my fellow directors and with some really good people. And if people will allow me a personal note, there was a great man, Johnny Cash, who died. He used to say, "I wear the black for all the poor and downtrodden." I don't wear the black today. I wear the pink in honor of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I've now reached the age where my mother died. She died at the age of 48. I'm now 48, and she died of breast cancer 34 years ago. So today is, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And for those of you who don't know, please get in the loop, and maybe we can eventually cure this disease. Thank you very much. Director Dwayne.
Thank you very much, Director Bachmiller. As always, verbose and eloquent speech. We always appreciate that on the board. The other directors, I'd like to provide them an opportunity to come up and say a few comments. So if Director Fissler would like to join us for a minute, and then Director Atkinson and Director Oleg Hall.
Thank you. I'm Director James Fissler from Division 2. I want to thank you all for coming here for our 50th anniversary. And it's a good time to reflect on some of the people's legacies that were introduced earlier, former board members, former staff members. They had a simple mission, which was to develop and deliver pure, plentiful, and affordable water. It wasn't a simple task to carry out, however. It was very complex. And the fact that we're here 50 years later is testament to their hard work and their good governance, because they accomplished the mission. But we're also here to reflect on where we are now. And we have a great board of directors now. We have a great staff. And we have the same simple mission of pure, plentiful, and affordable water. And it's complex for us also. It's a little bit different. Technology has changed. Water sources have changed. So we can't just follow in their footsteps. We have to put down our own footsteps, have our own vision, and make sure that we do complete the mission of pure, plentiful, and affordable water. And I'm confident we will, and that 50 years from now, we will have a legacy that will be remembered for what we did for Costa Mesa when we celebrate our 100th anniversary. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. I'm Jim Atkinson, Director with Division 4 over near Orange Coast College and the high school over there. I'd just like to thank all of you for being here to celebrate with us today. I think this is a momentous occasion. Not many folks like me get a chance to celebrate with all of you that we work with so often to make sure that our community is what it is. Our board is committed to making sure that we continue to do the best that we can do for all of you. And I think that's an important thing, that we all contribute to those things and we all recognize and celebrate the opportunities like this where we're participating, whether it's your event or our event, whatever it is, but celebrating the community. I think that's a great thing. And as Director Bachmiller indicated, the community has come together to put Mesa at the esteem and at the level that it is, and we're trying to be sure that it stays there. So thank you again for being here today, and we look forward to more of the party this afternoon.
I'm very shy, you know that. So first of all, I'd like to say also thank you for everyone. And whoever had this idea about those boys singing for us, I thought it was just great. Can we give them another hand, please? It puts the spirit in it. And from last night, coming home from the board meeting, 10 o'clock till 1 o'clock, I watched television. This morning, 5 o'clock, I was out again and watched those miners. And I thought again, what an excellent job. And when you listen to those people, what they endured and how they lived, and how we should be happy to be here today and can celebrate on this beautiful day with our friends and everybody here. We hope we keep our friendship. We hope we respect with each other. And from the bottom of my heart, I'd like to say thank you so much for helping us celebrating our 50th anniversary. Thank you.
So, Congressman Rohrabacher, I believe I'm supposed to welcome you to the dais here to present a proclamation. Thank you again very much for coming, and I apologize for the oversight.
There was an elderly lady who had a pretzel stand outside of a business, a big building there with lots of businesses in it, and every day a fellow would come up to her pretzel stand and put 25 cents in her plate and then run into the building without ever taking a pretzel. This went on and went on, and finally, after about a year, he walked up and put 25 cents in the plate, but before he could get to the door, she grabbed him by the arm, and he looked at her right in her face and said, "You probably want to know why for a full year I've been putting 25 cents in your plate, but I've never taken a pretzel." She said, "Well, no, I just want to tell you that pretzels are up to 35 cents. And I've got to tell you, we have a saying in politics that the fastest drying liquid known to man is gratitude, and tears of gratitude. And they all seem to dry up. They are so grateful to you for all you've done for them. But we take so much for granted in this country, and water is one of the things we take for granted. If you've ever been to a country where people are struggling in these incredible battles with various health and disease problems among their family members and throughout their society, how much of their resources have to be brought to play because of the type of infestations that can come from water or the lack of water. We know that here we live in Southern California on a day like this, and we have all the water that we need, and we just take it for granted. Well, I'm very, very pleased to be here to participate in this expression of gratitude on your 50th anniversary, because I realize that gifts like this are not gifts from God, although we are very grateful to God for what He's given us, but they are also the product of those of us who want to make a better world, working together to ensure that ordinary people have what they need to live a decent life. And water is on the very top level of that commitment. Without it, ordinary people will not live decent lives. My family, both my mom and my dad, came from dirt poor farms in North Dakota. Struggles. People were struggling all over the world, and they actually have more natural resources than we do. But what they haven't had is the ability to work together, people like yourselves who've been committed to providing the type of service or the type of product like clean water to them. We know, and what you've said today, what we enjoy today was the product, and we have some pictures of them here. Way back, there's one picture with Jerry Brown's father actually signing a bill there, and don't know if Jerry Brown's going to be there or not again, but we'll see. But the fact is that these people, you look at these photos and you look back at the history of this area, and we don't really remember the names of those people who we are now the benefactors of. I have 3 children at home, and I want you to know I now live in Costa Mesa, and there we are. And so today, I am providing this certificate of recognition on this 50th anniversary, both as a certificate from the House of Representatives and a certificate of recognition and appreciation. But I'm also presenting this as gratitude from your congressman and from a father of three who really cherishes the type of life that we have in Southern California. How lucky we are to live here, and we couldn't all live here if it wasn't for the hard work that was being done years ago in these 50 years, and my children won't be able to live here 50 years from now unless we continue to do that job. So Sean, if you'd come up and try and do this. Oh, over here, over here. There we go.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Let them know.
All right. One last note is that I sort of read history because my parents were, they were pioneers basically. They went out in North Dakota when my grandfather had a cowboy hat and a beard and everything, and I know about the history of the frontier, and the history of Western civilization and the history of our country has been the search for clean water. Look at it. Look at what's going on in the Middle East right now. Why don't we have peace between the Israelis and the Palestinians? Look where the water is on the West Bank if you want to find out why we don't have peace in that area. The first, you all remember the 6 days, the war, was the 6 Day War back in 1967? What brought that on was when the Syrians were building a water project that cut the water off to Israel, and Israel bombed that project because it was cutting off their water. Water is important for freedom, it's important for prosperity, it's important for human health. You are in the forefront of something that is so important to all of us and to our families. We can all be proud of what you're doing and proud of what you're leaving future generations. So thank you all very much.
In the future, but we know it's going to be positive, and we want to wish you the best, congratulate you on a job well done, and look forward to working closely together to meet all the challenges we're going to face in the future. So congratulations and job well done. Thank you.
Indeed, yes. We certainly wish you the best. And
We have to
you're doing a great
get a
job.
picture with you guys.
Oh,
Okay. Come on in here.
Thank you, Susan.
Is that good? Thank you. Thanks, Ed.
Yes,
It's great to
indeed.
see you. For those of you who don't know, I just point out to Mr. Royce is the father of Ed Royce Jr., the United States Congressman as well. And so again, what a great thing it is to be in America and not only have a congressman show up, but a congressman's father show up. It's a unique thing, and Ed's one of my favorite folks in the water business, and thanks again for coming. I really, really appreciate it. Next, I believe we have Director Jan DeBay from the Orange County Water District. Thanks, Jan, for coming.
Thank you. I worked all week not putting fingerprints on this. Susan Hinman stole my thunder. I was going to introduce also my staff and co-director from Orange County Water District. Phil Anthony is here, and when we take pictures, come and join us. And Mike Marcus, our general manager, is here. I want to say that for 9 years I've been on the board, and Mesa is in the district that I represent. And so quarterly, Mike Marcus and I, or another staff person, come and give an update or a report on our groundwater basin conditions and saltwater intrusion and those kinds of critical things that are managed by our local agencies and our Orange County Water District. And I want to say that it's been such a pleasure to be in close association with Mesa Consolidated. Your directors are probably setting the highest standard for being really dedicated to what they do. And visiting other water agencies, I can say that very proudly. You guys have a lot to be proud of.
Thank you.
So we congratulate you and commend you on your dedicated service. And obviously, we want lots of success in the years to come for us and for you.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Come. Mike, come and join us. No? Oh, he doesn't want to. Shall we get on this side?
All right.
Is this better?
Let's surround him here.
Yes,
All right.
let's do it. Now, wait a minute, no fingerprints. There we go.
Right in the Congratulations. Thanks so much. Thank you, Jan.
Thank you.
Very much.
You're welcome. I'll take it.
You bet.
She's got it.
Somebody's got it.
Thank you.
If I could just take a bit of a little detour here for a second and give special recognition to a project that I'm personally in awe of is the groundwater replenishment system. And in the audience today, we have a few folks, Jan DeBay, Phil Anthony, and Mike Marcus, who are responsible for a system that treats our what would otherwise be wastewater and dumped into the ocean, treated through the highest application of science and technology existing in the world today, where wastewater is forced through a solid plastic membrane at the molecular level and then re-injected into the groundwater basin to refill it, so agencies like Mesa can pump it back out and serve it to the retail customers, people like myself who own residential homes and folks like the Segerstroms who own businesses in the community. It is an absolute miracle of modern science that this is possible. It's been talked about since the time of Aristotle. John F. Kennedy remarked on it in his, when he became president, that if you could simply desalinate the ocean, this is the same technology that's used to desalinate the ocean. But without the vision and perseverance and leadership of these people, that project would not be built. But today stands as a literal example of what's possible when human beings apply their intuition and knowledge to some of the most difficult science and engineering problems in the world. Mike Marcus, the guy standing in the back, very humbly hiding from me now, took me on a tour when the project was under construction, and I believe there was something like 22 cranes on site, swinging loads overhead, building a project that came in on time and on budget, and today is a functioning part of our water supply system that produces 77,000 acre-feet of water per year. So again, congratulations to you folks for contributing such a very important part of our water supply system, and it's such an important thing as an example again in the world. I commented to Mike one day that I said, Mike, you know, you're not operating a water supply plant here. I said, you're operating a gigantic scientific instrument. And he laughed and took it very humbly, of course, but that is actually the truth of the matter. It is not just an industrial treatment process. This is a scientific instrument that is performing, again, at the highest levels of science and technology. So, again, thank you very much for your contributions. We are proud, again, to be part of it. I believe now, yes, thank you very much. I believe now we are going to present an award to our Mr. Carl Kemp, our former general manager. I'm looking for Stacy to make sure I'm on target here. So I'm not seeing any objection from my parliamentarian, so we're all good. Where is Mr. Kemp? Mr. Kemp, would you please approach the podium and join me up here, please? We have a very nice award in recognition for lifetime water achievement. Carl was the general manager here for quite a few years. I forget how many, but if perhaps you could help me out.
About 20.
20 years of service at Mesa. He oversaw the development and construction of an 18 million gallon reservoir that's actually right behind my house, underneath the playground. And so we have a public-private partnership with multiple government agencies where this project was built, and it serves as a reservoir of water in times of need. And we, again, thank you for your service to the district, and thank you for being part of the history of Costa Mesa.
Sean, thank you. And I might say it's just important to remember that it takes the whole team to make that happen. All the folks that were involved, the board, the community, and all the folks on the staff. So I accept it on behalf of all of us. Thank you. No time.
Thank you, Carl. Next, we have Mr. Hank Panyon. Hank is a former director and a local historian. I believe taught at Orange Coast College, history classes at Orange Coast College. And the most interesting thing I remember about Hank is when I first started on the board of directors, we host a group called the Water Issue Study Group. Well, Hank gives this fantastic presentation about the history of Costa Mesa. And Hank, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you told me that the first governor of California set out the water rights for the state so that water that was delivered in the north of the state would be objectively to be delivered to the cities of Los Angeles and San Diego. And so for those reasons, we have those three population centers in the state. So I forget what his name was. Perhaps you could help me out. But Gutierrez?
Jose Felipe.
Jose Felipe, the first governor of California, but for his vision, those three population centers may not exist or may not exist in the form they are today. So Mr. Panyon is a wonderful person and a wonderful guy to have as part of our district, and certainly a big part of the history. So we thank you for your service, and also I'd like to present you with a Lifetime Achievement Award and ask you to make a few comments.
I may make more than a few. I'd like to call attention, well, first of all, thank you to the board for this honor. I feel extremely honored by it. It has been a pleasure to work with you over the years with the Water Issue Study Group, so appreciate the honor. Thank you. I also feel extremely humbled. And I want to recall to you the remarks by City Manager Roeder that we all stand on other people's shoulders who have got us to this point today. And boy, am I cognizant of that. Congressman Rohrabacher said, the people whose shoulders we stand on, we've forgotten their names. I have not forgotten their names. And probably there's only one other person in the audience who will recognize some of the names I'm going to mention. That's Mr. Henry Segerstrom over here, who over 30 years was on the Orange County Water District Board and who has known the importance of water from way back. But I recall the election in 1960 when Mr. Bachmiller said that 15 directors had to give up their positions in order to go to 5. What a tremendous, awesome thing for them to do for this community. Now, there were 2 names that were important. One was Luke Davis, from whom the baseball diamond in Costa Mesa is named. And the other was a guy by the name of Pat Patrick. And Mr. Segerstrom, you probably remember that name as well. 2 guys who really carried the campaign to consolidate. And then that first board, Alvin Pinkley, on that first board, P.M. Thompson, later on Carl Stevens and Warren Booth were on that board. And what a tremendous job they had, because they had to integrate 4 different systems. And that's like taking 4 different plates of spaghetti and trying to lay them out in one plate. And thank goodness for the managerial abilities of Carl Kemp. That system was finally irrigated, Carl, when we got that loop system in the 1980s. I'm so humbled by this that I regret not having something like this happen before. But I want to thank you from the past. I want to thank the present board of directors again. And Shane, thank you for such a tremendous event. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh. Thank you. Thank you, Shane.
We also have an award to present to Mr. Segerstrom, the C.J. Segerstrom and Sons Company. it's a particular privilege for us to provide, to award this to Mr. Segerstrom, because without his vision of what the city of Costa Mesa would be in this, the development of his farm, none of us would live here or enjoy the quality of life close to the beach, the land development, the shopping malls, and all of the things that have gone along with the vision of one particularly unique and extraordinary individual. You talk about a true American success story. I suspect Mr. Segerstrom could tell us a great story about how developing a farm in Southern California probably wasn't the greatest business opportunity when it first started, but boy, you turned it into something fantastic, and we thank you. Particularly interesting to the district, Mr. Segerstrom was kind enough to lease a piece of his farm right next to his house off of Bristol to the Water District for $1 a year. And on that little piece of land, we sunk a well and pumped water that was delivered to the citizens of Costa Mesa for many, many years. Mr. Segerstrom, I think we still owe you $1. So again, thank you for that opportunity. That well was recently decommissioned and will become part of a historic park that will memorialize their family's contribution to our local history. So Mr. Segerstrom, if you'd like to join me, perhaps you could make a few comments. We'd greatly appreciate it.
Well, may I say it's nice to see all of you. I miss the water people and my experiences with the district. Very few people know that I was an elected public official for 28 years. I never had a competition. Nobody ever declared their candidacy against me, so I ran unencumbered, had zero budget for campaigning. A few things I think would be interesting to all of you. The Segerstrom family have been in the Costa Mesa area for 110 years. That's a long time. We had a farming operation that extended during various years from Warner Street in Santa Ana to Wilson in Costa Mesa. And on that farm, we grew lima beans. Our peak production was 41,000 bags, 100-pound bags, and that's 4 million pounds of beans. It feeds a lot of people. Water is so critical in agriculture, and I don't know how many of you ever heard of witching for water, where you take a willow stick and you walk along, and then when the willow stick goes down, that's a place to drill a well. That's how the Segerstroms found some of their water.
Wow.
And it's not very scientific, but I can tell you that it works, and our neighbors always were very desirous of having my uncle, who was very good at this, they call it divine. During my course of being with the Water District, I was fortunate to be the chairman of the board for 6 years. And during that 6 years, we had a lot of accomplishments. Among them, we received a $25 million grant from the Congress of the United States to build an ocean water desalination plant. The plant was completed, and we were ready to put it on stream with oil at $4 a barrel. When the Middle East war broke out and the price of oil went up to $10 a barrel, and we were cooked. The economics didn't work, but it was about that time that Fidel Castro said we're going to close Guantanamo Bay by shutting the water supply off. So the United States government took the facility that we had built with them and for them and took it down to Guantanamo Bay, and we defied the Cuban government. A neat trick. The last thing that I think is of interest, when I first went on the Water District Board, 10% of our water extraction from the underground was from municipal and industrial uses. 90% was for agriculture. And I would estimate that the population base of Orange County at that time was about 200,000 people. 28 years later, when I left the board, 90% of the water was being used by domestic and industrial uses. Imagine it flipped, totally flipped from 10% agriculture I'm getting my figures mixed up, but you know what. The world changed very fast as Orange County's population base grew, and this is a wonderful community, and I want to thank you for this award and this recognition. I was very pleased when I saw the announcement come through the mail, and Costa Mesa is a wonderful community, and all of you do a wonderful service for our needs. So thank you, and thank you for the award. You're doing a good job.
Thank you so much. And then finally, before we drink the toast, I would just like to, again, give us one thought to keep in mind the next time we have a glass of water. And 3 little statistics that always stand out in my mind, and that is that it takes about 30 gallons of water to make 1 sheet of paper. It takes about 3,000 gallons of water to produce 2 pounds of beef. So when you have a steak or write on that piece of paper or drink a cup of coffee, you have to think about how much water is used in every single thing that we drink, use, buy, and not only when we wash ourselves and use it for refreshment, but for every single thing that we touch, own, produce in this country is fundamentally driven by the economics of water. So again, thank you all for coming. I'd like to toast. Again, thank you to the Board of Directors. Thank you to the Boys Choir. And if I could again reiterate this while they're in attendance, you young gentlemen over there make every person in this audience feel proud to be in America. It's a great day. It's a great day in America, folks. Congratulations to Mesa.